Thanks for joining office hours for COIS ADMN 1620. Can someone just give me a quick thumbs up to make sure my audio is coming through just fine? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. So this is the office hours for that I call module 2.2. In other words, the second week of module 2. Hopefully we're settling into a nice little pattern here. As I covered last week, we've got chapter 3 and 4, and tech guide 1 is the content that we have to cover by this coming Wednesday, October 5th at 11:59 p.m. So you're going to have 3 quizzes, 3 practices, and this time we will also have a discussion. So we've got the module 2 practices, so all 3 of them, for the aforementioned chapters and the tech guide, the 3 for the quizzes, and then you've got 1 discussion which consists of 2 separate questions on 1 subject matter. So it's 2 questions, but there's only 1 link for the discussion. That there are some good instructions with that. If you haven't already taken a look at it, you can click on the discussions within assessments. I'm just navigating there now so that I can see it as I'm talking about it. So there's a folder, there's 4 folders for module 1, module 2, and so forth, of which you can only see module 2 at the moment. And there's a discussions folder. If you click on that, you'll see that there's the discussion rubric, which should give you some good ideas about how I'm going to mark this thing. But if you click on discussion 1, before it even opens, it gives you the full rundown of instructions for it. Take your time, read through that, please, if you haven't already. It'll point you in the right direction for being successful. I'm going to give really good feedback to people, and as quickly as I can, like hopefully within a week of the time that they're submitted on Wednesday, I will have feedback back to you, because we've got discussion 2, 3, and 4 in the next 3 modules as well. So it's a bit of a learning experience for a lot of students. So I'll give feedback as to what I'm looking for that differs from what you provided me. Remember that you can save it at any time, but once you submit your discussion, that's it. You can't, there's not multiple attempts, because it's a random, behind the scenes, it's a random question, choosing from a pool, and you won't get the same question if you do it a second time. So I've only enabled 1 attempt, but you can save it and come back to it later. The other thing that I'll go over again that I talked about a little bit last office hours. So if you haven't heard this and you want more detail, you may want to listen to last office hours, is that Blackboard's going to do its best to butcher everything you paste into it that's got formatting. So paste it in such a way that there is no formatting, and reformat your answers in Blackboard. And by formatting, I'm talking about font types and bolds and things like that. If you're using, if you're underlining, or if you've got italics or something like that, as you should in your reference list, then you should format, like strip the formatting by using Shift-Control-V and or pasting it from Notepad or something like that, and then reformat it in Blackboard. There's a preview button so you can see what it's supposedly going to look like. It's not a disaster if you submit it and it's massacres the formatting. I know that happens. You won't lose a ton of marks for that. You won't lose any marks for it unless it becomes very hard to be able to read. Sometimes it will make it wider than a screen width, so you have to scroll back. I'll have to scroll back and forth to mark it. It'll be very, very hard to read. It won't naturally break the lines at the end. So ideally, again, paste it in without formatting and reformat it in Blackboard, preview it, and then submit it. All right. Other than that, we are in sort of the pattern that we're going to see for modules 3, 4, and 5. Module 6 does not have a discussion, so it's a little lighter load as you're preparing for the final and such. But yeah, if you're making good progress at this point, you should be on a good pattern. I certainly suggest that you not leave everything until the second Wednesday of the module, because there's a lot. The practice plus the quizzes plus the discussion is a fair bit of work. You also have to cover the material, presumably, to understand how to answer the practices and the quizzes. There are still lots of people, and I was looking at that just before I hopped on. There are still lots of people with no marks whatsoever in the class. That's, as we get close to the drop date, I'll be talking to those people and suggesting to them that they've missed so many marks that they probably want to start over in another term. There are some people that have not. There are some people that have finished the 2 mandatory requirements and not done anything else. I'm not sure what's going on with them. There are other people that have not properly finished both mandatory requirements, and they're doing little, if anything else. They can't see the quizzes yet. So if you can't see quizzes at this point, then you need to look at your mandatory requirements and make sure you've got perfect marks in both the academic integrity and the course requirements quiz. I have to manually review these things, and I do so on a daily basis, but I'm not going to be rushed on Wednesday night because you're 4 weeks late in submitting them, or 3 weeks late, whatever it is, and you're now in a panic. So get them into me as soon as you can. I'll get them marked, and your quizzes will become available once you've satisfied the requirements. And I know for the people that are actually attending in person, you've heard this at least 3 times, maybe 4 times at this point. So thanks for your patience. Does anyone in attendance have any questions that I can address? Anything that I can clarify or help with? Yeah, go ahead, Cassandra.
Hi, I just had a quick question about something that you mentioned in your last office hours about state your opinion as a fact. Now, that kind of confused me, because isn't that going against what our opinion is? Obviously, our opinions shouldn't be just totally made up, but
Sure. Yeah, I understand the confusion. What I'm trying to get away from is essay answers. I'm not really asking for your opinion. I'm asking for you to, even though I say that, I'm asking for you to make a statement that is your point of view. So that point of view has to be supported. And I want to avoid, a very good writer can get away with doing things from first person, but for most people, it's sloppy and messy, and they tend to use way too much narration. So you get things like, in my personal opinion, or in my personal experience. Those are extra words that are unnecessary. And it makes reading it not good, and it takes away from the content overall. So that's why it's an advice in terms of style, and it's a general rule to follow when you're doing something academic. If you're in an English class, that's a whole different thing, obviously. But when you're in a computer science type class, if you're asked for your opinion, you should state it as fact and support it so that someone is convinced by your argument. Does that help?
Yeah, totally. Will you ever be straight up and say, state your opinion, or will that never really be asked of us?
It won't be a straight up. It won't be a straight up in your opinion where I want you to sort of relate personal experience.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Like if I asked you for personal experience, there's almost no way to say that except in first person, like I did this and that, right? But yeah, no, and maybe I need to look at the way those things are phrased so that get away from opinion, because people read that and quite legitimately that I want them to respond in first person, but I want it in an academic third person passive type of format.
Gotcha.
All right.
Great. I do have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead.
But my question is based on my specific discussion question, and you said people have different questions, right? So should I
Yeah.
wait till the end and just ask it to
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
or?
if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
of
you
course.
don't mind, I'll wait for you at the end and I'll
No
pull up.
problem.
If you've submitted it or if you want to share your screen, we can do that. And then we won't share that in the recording.
Of course. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Cassandra. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yes, Professor, may I ask a question about the tag guide? There's a quiz due on October 5th.
Yeah, so the tech guide is the tech guide 1 hardware is the quizzes, the practice are both due with this package on October 5th.
So where's the material should I go through? I didn't see anywhere and mention that in Blackboard.
So have you opened up the resources themselves?
Resources, let me check.
So if you click on the top left in the Wiley Plus course resources, you're
Yeah,
going
I'm in right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So if you scroll down to the bottom of that, there's tech guides 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay. And then I go review tag 1, and then after
Yeah.
review.
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. Let me do this. Well, I like to always do this while I'm talking to people to make sure that.
Okay.
So yeah, if you scroll down, there's the tech guides near the bottom there, hardware, software, cloud computing, artificial intelligence. I'm just going to open up the textbook, and I don't think it's in the textbook, right?
Yeah.
No, maybe I'm wrong. Give me a second here.
TG1 as a flashcard, right?
That's
TG1.
it. That's exactly right. TG1 is Tech Guide 1. So it is after chapter 13. So the material is in the actual text as well.
Actual text.
Yeah.
Okay.
So page 421 is Tech Guide 1.
Oh, okay. Just
Do you see the text itself?
I just see TG1 and then I clicked it. Let me check.
So if you're back at the Wiley Plus, sorry, I'm just going to back out here, get back to the previous screen, if it'll let me. Let me just go in here. So when you click on course resources at the very top of that page, there's the Wiley Plus e-textbook with a launch button.
Yeah.
That's where I'm talking about in terms of where you're going to find the material to answer the quizzes.
Okay, already clicked in the textbook already. It's an ebook style.
Yeah,
So,
that's right. That's right. So it's right at, I think I said page 421, right at the back are all the tech guides.
421, how to certificate and check. 421, page 421. Yes, I clicked 421. Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it.
You got it? Okay,
Yeah.
good, perfect. Yeah, 421, page 421 is Tech Guide 1.
Thank you very much. I got it.
Okay, good, excellent, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? If you do not, feel free to get on with your Saturday. Thank you for joining. And I really appreciate the questions. It's helpful for other people that are watching this afterwards. If you have a question, pretty good chance that someone else is thinking the same thing, whether they were unable to attend or whatever. But please do get on with your Saturday, and good luck on Wednesday night. Again, if you haven't, for whatever reason, got your prerequisites done, get them done as soon as possible. I'll mark them every day, but I make no promises about staying up late on Wednesday night to ensure that people can squeak in at the very, very last moment. So, all right. Thanks very much, guys. And Cassandra, I'll just wait for you once other people have exited.